What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Hops Geek News, a podcast that discusses comic books, movies, TV shows, and of course, we typically feature a beer of the week. I'm one of your two hosts, Matt. Alongside me is Lauren. And if you've never been a part of the show before, we like to talk about what we're drinking, what we've messed up on, what we're reading or watching, and then, of course, we talk some news before going into a main topic. Today's episode is Scooby Dooby Doo, baby, with a sprinkle of Scoobynatural. So we're talking Scooby Doo, and we're talking the Scoobynatural crossover episode in season 13 of Supernatural. We're going to kind of kick off spooky season. It's September. The weather got like 5 degrees cooler in some areas. The leaves are starting to change. It's that time of year. Pumpkin beers, pumpkin coffees are upon us. And if this is your first time, please, by all means, go give us a review, drop a rating on any of your podcasting platforms, subscribe to us. And then, of course, if you want to support the show, patreon.com/hopsgeeknews, where we do all sorts of fun things for our Patreons. And as always, thank you for hanging out with us if you're a returning Patreon member. First things first, my beer of the week is going to be from Smutty Nose Brewing Company out of New Hampshire. I haven't had this beer in a while. It is called the Pumpkin Ale. It is brewed with real pumpkin. And man, it's delicious. Smutty Nose, fun fact, I'm on their wall because I completed their food challenge. And so that's my claim to fame. If you ever go there, I should be on there. I'm one of the first people who did it. But like I said, they're out of New Hampshire. Really good beer. I'm drinking out of a can like a savage this week. I apologize. I am mid-move, currently living in a hotel. No end in sight to that hotel living. So if you hear any sort of like bangings, airplanes flying over, just bear with us. I apologize for that. But Lauren, thanks for putting up with me.
Food challenge. What all did you have to eat for the Smutty Nose food challenge?
So, fun fact, this was my last, I re-enlisted and I was in New Hampshire, one of my last times living in New Hampshire. And so before I even went to this food challenge, like we had lunch. Like I had a hot dog at Liar's Bench Brewing and some
Oh
beers.
no.
And we went to Smutty Nose and I saw a food challenge. It was like a pound burger, a pound of fries, and they had to
Pound
change.
of fries.
Yes.
Fries
So
are
this is before
light.
they changed it to include like a milkshake. So this was a
Ugh.
pound and a half. It actually might have been a pound and a half of a burger with like stuff on it. And then a pound of French fries though. And my friends and Carrie and everybody was like, you can do that. No problem. So I kind of got peer pressured into it. When I tell you, like, I had to get up and walk laps. Otherwise I was going to throw up because it doesn't sound like that much food, but I had eaten before. So this guy was at the boiling point, and I had some beers, so my belly was just already full.
At max capacity,
I
yeah.
did it. By God, I did it. I got the shirt to prove it somewhere. I'm on their wall, at their main location. And but if you've never been to Smutty Nose, though, it's a really cool brewery. They have Smut Labs, which kind of sounds like inappropriate, but they
Yes,
do
it
like
does.
experimental beers, and all of they're on a really old farm from like the 1600s. So all of the grains, when they're done with them with their brewing, they actually donate to the local farms to feed the animals. So it goes to a good cause, which I am all about. And
That's awesome.
they got
I
little
love the breweries do
seals
that.
because there's a little seal on like Smutty Nose Island. And
Mm.
yeah, man, it's cool. I did that food challenge. I will probably never do a food. I won't say I never do a food challenge again, but that one was rough. I walked to the woods. I did laps. It was rough.
Yeah, I don't think I'll ever do it. I picture John Candy in the Great Outdoors doing the food challenge whenever I hear food challenge. But we
Pretty
did the
much.
Big Texan Brewery like 5, 6 years ago, and they have a food challenge there where it's like a piece of steak and a whole baked potato and just like oh, and of course, like the one girl who apparently did it like the fastest is this teeny tiny little human
Yo,
being.
it's like Joey Chestnut and all those people who did like the hot dog eating
Yeah.
contest. They're all like skinny people.
Yeah.
I don't understand the science behind this.
It's just no science. It's magic. It's not science.
It's witchcraft.
It is witchcraft. Speaking of witchcraft, what a lovely segue into our main topic. But we're not going to do our main topic yet. I'm not drinking beer. It's 10:30 in the morning, and I was going to drink a
Come
beer
on. Why you got
if
to put
my
me on blast like that?
Tavor. Hey, you're living it out of a hotel right now. You can drink whatever you want. No, my I ordered Tavor. I ordered the family business beers through Tavor. It was supposed to be here by the latest Wednesday, and it is still not here. So I even told my husband, I'm like, I'm gonna be recording. If somebody comes because it's 21 up, you have to sign for it. Please answer the door. So I'm expecting two bombers from them, and I ordered their Cosmic Cowboy, their three main beers. It was like a 12 pack. So I still haven't received it. And once I do get it, hopefully you are closed on your house and I can send you a couple of the cans too for our next Supernatural episode. So
God, I
I'm
hope so.
drinking just coffee out of my
That's fair.
Supernatural
I
mug.
had coffee
Nothing
this
new.
morning. I've been mowing Dunkin' Donuts, honestly. Like that's a one good thing is
I'm
there's Dunkin' Donuts
shocked.
everywhere, and there's one on the way to my daughter's school. So I've been hitting it up for the pumpkin coffee every morning. I actually tried the Starbucks pumpkin chai. I highly recommend that to anybody out there. Got an iced pumpkin chai from Starbucks. That's pretty good. And
Mm.
half my beer fridge from my adventures. So for those who don't know, I moved to Virginia. That's kind of where I'm living at now. And I started in Moab is our first stop, and that was a really cool place. So basically, when you go to Moab, it's the town itself is Radiator Springs, legit. Like it's Radiator
You even
freaking
saw a
Springs.
tomato, didn't you?
You even saw a Mater. And then when you get into Arches National Park, it looks like Jeddah from Star Wars, which it was just insanely beautiful, man. Like it's hard to believe a place like that exists. I went to
Yeah.
Moab Brewing, didn't buy anything there, but then the next day we drove to Denver and stopped in Breckenridge, Colorado. Went to Breckenridge Brewery, and I also went to Golden Compass. Those are really great. Like Breckenridge is basically if you open up a storybook, that's exactly what the town looks like, and everybody was insanely nice.
I want to
And
go snowboarding there.
yeah, it was God. I would take a snowboarding trip, and I don't even necessarily do that stuff, but it's cool because as you go up the mountain, each level on the mountain has like these patios, and they have like all sorts of things to do aside from just snowboarding. And so in the summertime, there's a lot of cool things to do. But I went to Lady Justice, and so I got some Lady Justice Brewing, and got to visit their brewery. Beautiful place. They're had them on Betsy on Hops News before, and so from there went to Omaha for a few days, and I went to Kansas City, hit up a few breweries there. And the beer in Kansas City, pretty good. Everyone was really friendly. Hit up some breweries there. Didn't bring any beer back from there. Went to St. Louis and went to Four Hands Brewing, which I got a 4-pack of a pumpkin when they're it's called like Ill Repute. And so I have that I'm going to be sending. I got some Lady Justice, and then I went to Gatlinburg and had Gatlinburg Brewery, I think it's called. I had their beer, which is actually really good. They had a really good coffee porter or coffee cream ale, and that was really good. And then we went to Raleigh for the weekend because that's where the in-laws are at. And so I went to Burial Brewing, and I got some
Which
Burial
is the
beer to send.
best.
Yeah, oh, their stouts are like
I don't know if I've had any. Maybe I don't know. I
it's.
think I've had one of their stouts at a beer share. But you know,
I
when you're at a beer
was
share, everything
yeah.
starts to taste the same.
Well, I think we had some at the Nashville one we did last year,
Oh,
but
maybe that was it. Yeah.
honestly, like one bottle of their stouts, $20, and so
Oh,
I
that's
could not
cheap.
justify to myself buying a bottle like
Oh,
that. Otherwise, I was going to send some.
I was
So
gonna say I just spent
maybe in
like
your Christmas
30 on each of the
package.
bottles from I was
Well,
like, wow, $20 for a bottle of a stout. Was it a 12 ounce?
no, it was
It
like
was
a
a bomber.
16. It was in between a bomber
Oh,
and
like
a
a
12 ounce.
Pliny bottle or
Yeah,
something.
exactly.
Okay.
It was a little bit bigger. So I mean, it's super worth it. Their beer's amazing. The tap
Yeah.
room's great. They have a few tap rooms. So Asheville has like their main tap rooms, and then they have one in Raleigh, which great. It's a food hall. So if you're in Raleigh, go there. But picked some beer up there, and then I came here to Virginia, and my town actually has like 10 breweries in it. New I went to New Realm, saw Jay from Hops News, and New Realm, their
That's
tap
fun.
room is a really good restaurant and a brewery, and that was awesome.
Their beer's really good.
Beer was really good, and they have like a concert, like a staged for concerts that actually get held. Like how big this place is.
Well, and a lot of people might not realize like Mitch Steele started it and he was at Stone before. So that's like a
Yeah.
big beer dude to open, start a brewery. So it makes sense that his beer's so good and that it's the brewery's doing so well because it's a lot of
Oh yeah.
business too. I'm
Absolutely.
excited for that Sandra Day O'Connor beer. I have put
Yeah.
that in a shopping cart more than once from Lady Justice and then couldn't justify the shipping cost and exited it
I
out.
got you.
She's my favorite Supreme Court justice.
Yeah, I'm sending you a lot of beers. I picked up some more beers last night. So I found Precarious Brewing, which is probably going to be my spot. It's 10 minutes from my house. I'm part of their membership. I'm going to go their beer fest. Their beers are really good. So there's like a taco place in there, and then they also have a smash burger place, and then right next door in the same hall is an ice cream parlor with a mellow mushroom. So really, you got
Ooh,
4
love
food
mellow
options.
mushroom.
It's an arcade inside too. So if you bring your kids, like kids can go and play in the arcade totally fine. Then if you want, there's tacos, like food. Their beer is really good. Everybody was insanely friendly at that brewery too. I didn't grab any beers from there, but I did grab you a couple beers from Virginia, like the Air Gordon. I'm gonna send like that.
Yeah,
But
that's a fun can.
yeah, so there's like probably 12 beers I have coming your way at some point. Uh, yeah, but anyways, people didn't come here to listen about that. I just want to talk about my adventures because we haven't recorded
Yeah,
in a
we're recording
month.
like a month. Yeah.
It's been about a month because I've been on the road and not anything. So I just this is like we've texted, but we haven't had a chance to like talk.
Right.
So you guys get to hear that. But in the meantime, what are some things that you've been reading or watching lately?
So I did watch Knock on the Cabin, the one with
Mm,
Dave Bautista. It's a Midnight Shyamalan movie.
Rupert
Didn't
Grint.
It was interesting, like all his movies are, and I'll kind of just leave it like that. Like if
I didn't like it too much, but Dave Bautista
Yeah.
absolutely kills it in that movie. He's so good.
Yes. He does do really good. And and Kristoff's in it.
Yep.
I obviously love the actor who plays Kristoff, whose name I will never remember because he's
I
just
never
Kristoff.
remember.
What now? It's gonna drive me nuts because I know it. I of course watched Ahsoka. I did finish the Thrawn books. I did a little review of that online. I absolutely loved all three of them. And I did do a little poll because after reading these books, I'm really like Team Thrawn. He's definitely in the top 5 of my favorite Star Wars characters at this point, and I don't think he's necessarily a villain. And I did a poll and I asked people, do you think he's a bad guy? Only 8 people voted, but 5 said yes. 1 said hell no, and 2 said we'll see. I did not vote, but just so you see the hell no and you see the we'll see, I'm not alone here. Thrawn is just very logical. We're still waiting to see him in Ahsoka. We're not going to do spoilers for Ahsoka at all. But I do hope that I could see him with Ezra, like that they've been hanging out and they've been talking and Thrawn has talked.
It's just, could you imagine they're just hanging out on Thrawn's ship, just like kicking out on a beach somewhere, and
Well,
Morgan and everybody shows up to bring him back, and he's just like, dude, I've been living a good life for like 10 years. I left that all. He's in like flip flops and a Hawaiian shirt, just
he
chilling.
retired. I mean, well, yeah, what kind of Hawaiian shirt goes good with blue? Uh, but he's just so like, okay, you think about Ezra, like how he talked to Maul, and like he's been influenced a little bit by dark side, like, and it's almost not a bad thing. It's more so like he's open-minded and willing to listen to these people who are older than him, who have been around, but he still always goes light side. And Thrawn's not necessarily evil, so I could see the two of them finding common ground and working together. So that's
100% agree. People were like, if Ezra's been trapped there, how is he not a bad guy by now? It's like, Ezra has a pretty good grasp of the Force. Thrawn, I will agree, he's never really, he's been like, his big thing is like for the greater good of his people and his interests. So he's never an outright like, because he didn't like the Empire.
And his
either.
people are the Chiss,
yes,
not the Empire. Like
he
joined the Empire to help his people.
Yeah, and he even sent like Empire garrisons and recruited people to come help him and his people. So I will have to agree that Thrawn's not outright a bad guy. He's like on his own. He's his own person, you know. He's
and there were times where he let the rebels go. They're like the rebels escaped. He's like, perfect. That's what I wanted.
Yeah, agreed.
The only other thing I've really watched is Good Omens. I rewatched season 1 before I watched 2, and I'm so glad I did because I forgot so much. That show is so good. I loved season 2. It ended on a motherfucker give me season 3 right now note, I will say, for me personally.
It's
season
Amazon,
3 has,
so you're gonna have to wait, what, 4 years?
I know. Well, I think it's been like 4 years since the
it's
season
been a while.
1. Yeah. The two of them together, David Tennant and Michael Sheen, are phenomenal together. Even just watching interviews of them, the way they feed off each other is amazing. And their chemistry definitely shows up on screen as well. You know, Crowley, who is a demon, and then you have Aziraphale, who is an angel, and they are just phenomenal together. And like the first one, it's Doomsday. Doomsday's supposed to be happening. So Eric Kripke is a fan of Neil Gaiman and has obviously, when you're a fan of somebody and you're a writer, he's taken inspiration from that. So you see a lot of things in Good Omens that I've seen in Supernatural. Like there was one line where he says, I don't want to say what he says because you haven't gotten to that season in Supernatural, but I texted, my Supernatural group. I'm like, I literally heard this exact same line in Supernatural. So it's a lot of fun. And obviously it's I want to say he's my second favorite Crowley, but they're about even now. So Mark Sheppard and David Tennant Crowley.
Well, it's just David
although they
Tennant.
say Crowley.
Yeah, I was gonna say they have the same name, but it's David Tennant. So how could you? He's even Huang, or
yeah, in Ahsoka.
Yeah, and he's David Tennant.
It's my favorite Doctor.
One of the best working actors that are out there.
Yeah. So that's mainly what I've been watching. If you have not seen Good Omens and you like Supernatural, definitely go watch Good Omens. And it's one of those shows you really want to pay attention when you're watching too, because that makes it funnier and it makes it better.
Right. Man, to be honest with you, I haven't been to the movies. I haven't really watched anything. I haven't really had a chance to read anything. I got a stack of comic books that I need to read. I picked them up. Same. I found a comic shop, Comics Cubicle in Williamsburg. That's kind of going to be my hangout spot. It's a really cool comic shop. So if you happen to be in the Williamsburg area, check that out. But yeah, I just haven't a chance. Football started. I watched football. I don't like being on the East Coast now though, because everything starts so late. And
we think it's weird that you guys start watching football at 9 a.m. over there. So
it's a godsend because I am that old man that falls asleep early. So by last night, it was like 10:30. I'm nodding off. I'm just It was
Wait till the
rough.
NBA finals. That's
So
rough.
just wait until we're recording podcasts and we have to do a few of them and it's like 11 at night. I'm going to be asleep on this show.
I'm wide awake and Matt's
I'm
falling
sitting there. I'm
asleep
just
because I'm
like,
used to it.
yeah, God, I gotta prime myself. But yeah, haven't read or watched anything. I have, okay, Ahsoka other than that, but
Well,
um
and we've been posting more about the comics we have been reading on our
yes,
social media, and we've been posting stuff on Nerd Initiative as well. Like I read a little bit of Dr. Afra, which I hadn't read her before. So if you are curious in more of the comics we're reading, definitely check out
I've definitely
our
lied.
Instagram. Really,
You're right. I've been reading for Nerd Initiative, Buffy the Last Vampire Slayer issue 2, and then I've been reading also Something is Killing the Children.
which
So
I just finished volume 1 and just picked up volume 2.
yes, I don't want to spoil anything for that, but if you want to see our comic book reviews and see what we have been reading as well in the meantime, go to nerdinitiative.com, follow Turn a Page where Lauren was just on this week too.
Oh,
Just
read
check
the
out
first volume of Umbrella Academy. That's right.
yes. So check out Nerd Initiative. We're doing some things there. We partnered up with them. We're doing comic reviews that come out weekly with them. So please, by all means, go to Nerd Initiative, check that out. And other news, we'll roll into some news. First things first, the strike is still ongoing, and this podcast stands with SAG-AFTRA and also with the Writers Guild. Of course, they deserve to be paid, and it's insane that the fact that the Writers Guild was basically like everything we've asked comes out to $47 million a year, and these companies are making billions of dollars a year. So it's just absolutely ridiculous that we're still doing this. It's like 120 something days, I think, at this point, maybe 130. And yeah, man, they deserve to get their money. It's ridiculous. People deserve a living wage, especially while, you know, all these big studio heads are just getting their money, making
Oh my
$76,000 a day, for
gosh, making
example.
insane amounts of money.
Yeah. So if you can go donate to any of the Writers Guild, the SAG-AFTRA, to help some of these people who are getting kicked out of their apartments now. They are trying to find other jobs, but people aren't wanting to hire them because they know they're going to jump ship at some point. So whatever you can do, if you can give, I know just to go outside these days, it costs you $100. So whatever you can give, help out. You know, we're all struggling and we can't get good movies because things have been pushed. For example, Dune 2 has been pushed to March because of the ongoing strikes. We're looking like Aquaman 3 is still going to be releasing at the same time, and the Marvels 3 or 2, excuse me, is going to be premiering still at the same time. They're moving up their date to get some of those IMAX viewings. And then we are going to get Gen V, which is coming to Amazon Prime September 29th. And they actually have come out and said that this show takes place in between seasons 3 and seasons 4 of The Boys. And Eric Kripke is not going to let season 4. We're on season 4 of The Boys, right? Yes.
Yeah.
The Eric Kripke is not going to let season 4 of The Boys come out. Pretty much is what it sounds like until the strike is over. And nor
Sounds like he's holding it hostage.
he honestly, like, good
which
on
is
him.
amazing.
You know, Eric Kripke has been one of the very few people that have been out there really organizing. So, you know, he had the Supernatural strike, the Boys strike. Like they've been out there doing their thing.
Yeah. Well, and I thought it was interesting when he shared and he goes, I'm not doing this for pity. I'm doing fine. Obviously, he's got a very successful show on Prime. He goes, but Supernatural is quite often in the top 10 streaming shows on Netflix, and he's never received a penny from Netflix. Now, you know, I was talking to my husband about it. He's like, yeah, well, he should have negotiated for that. And it's like, well, when Supernatural came out, there was no streaming. That was not a thing. So that's what a lot of these shows, too. This is
a lot of the shows on
territory.
Netflix, like Suits and Breaking Bad, are other ones. Aaron Paul doesn't get a dime from Breaking Bad.
Right.
And
a lot of people
one.
stream these shows on there, and like we're not concerned about the people who obviously are doing very well and making millions. It's the extras and the people in the background and people like that that they're really striking for.
Like there's 1% of actors and actresses that are living very well, but then you have the writers who you could get paid. So like, for example, some writer could get paid to write a season. Like the one of the writers for The Bear, he only makes like 20 something $1,000 and that's it. And he can't, and a lot of their contracts don't let them write anything else except for that show. And so they're not being paid. And that's kind of what we're dealing with. And so it sucks. Like, how do you expect them to live if you're only letting them write one show, but you're also only paying them pennies?
Right. And they're creating good quality content.
The Bear is one of the best shows out there. Yes. But aside from that, Percy Jackson will premiere on Disney Plus December 20th. And they're going to show a featurette on October 15th, aka that's my birthday. So just a heads up, if anybody wants to shower us with some love that day, by all means, all we ask is that you just go download our podcast. And aside from that, Star Wars Visions will be coming a comic book, which will release in November. And if you haven't watched Star Wars Visions, it's a very beautiful, different take on Star Wars. Highly recommend that. In other news, a PR firm has confirmed that Rotten Tomatoes has been paying $50 for reviews to inflate scores. Honestly, not surprised at that. I guarantee you that some PR firms have been paying to deflate scores as well. And it's kind of the issue with Rotten Tomatoes these days. It's why I don't put stock in Rotten Tomatoes, for example. I really don't.
No.
It's make your own opinions. And it's because crap like this.
It's like for a movie I like, I want it to do good, but yeah, it's a bunch of bullshit.
Well, people like, oh, it's considered rotten. And you see it with like DC, for example, like Blue Beetle, unfortunately, did not do well in theaters, but it's a very good movie, for example. Um, that's
Well,
just my
that's,
opinion, but I'm not being paid by anybody to inflate those scores. But
right.
still, it's crazy out there. What if season 2 should be out around Christmas? Agatha, and she has her third name change, which is Agatha Darkhold Diaries, has moved from Winter of Two.
Coven of Chaos. That was fun.
They're trying to explain it that like Agatha is messing with the titles. I don't really buy that. It's kind of
just really weird.
Yeah, that's kind of like what their blanket
probably changing the story and they're like, this doesn't make sense.
They said Agatha's up to her old ways. It's like, no, you probably just keep changing shit and you're just gonna say like whatever it is.
They have the Darkhold and Runaways and Asians. I wonder if at any point in time they will reference that at any multiverse or whatever. But like the Darkhold didn't even look the same in WandaVision.
Yeah, I have no idea, but it's coming out fall of 2024 now, allegedly. Echo will now come out January of 2024 because of the strike and the CEOs, Bob Iger, not be able to get their shit together. X-Men 97 still slated to come out 2024, probably in the January timeframe. I know animated shows have different rules and things. Daredevil Reborn has been paused. Wonder Man has been paused. Ironheart's off the schedule. And now SAG-AFTRA is actually seeking approval for second strike against video game companies, which I fully agree with because video game companies are so often overworked that the quality of the game drops. These people don't get paid very well. And yeah, it's just what a freaking time we live in, man.
It's like they just want like 5 people to have all the money in the world. It's like kings and queens and the rest of us can be serfs.
When are we going to, never mind. I was about to go French Revolution on some people, but we'll save that.
They're going to tell us to just eat cake. Okay. Taylor Swift is this is another Deadpool rumor that's going around that Taylor Swift will be playing Dazzler in Deadpool 3. Please. With how popular she is right now, like I'm not what you would call a Swiftie, but I have a lot of friends who are. I actually went to a brewery a couple weeks ago for Taylor Swift night, and
you did, yes.
The costumes were amazing. That place was packed. People were making friendship bracelets. It was all over the place. I liked her when she just did country back in the day, but now it's like she's not even on the country stations anymore unless it's her old stuff. But she's kicking ass, so good for her. So this would be so smart though, because she's so popular and she's friends with them, and she even played Deadpool for Halloween one year and used the actual Deadpool costume. So more power to them. Well, we shall see, maybe, if this writer strike ever ends.
Yeah.
There's apparently another Highlander in the works with Henry Cavill. I don't know how there can be another Highlander though when there can only be one Highlander.
Well, he's about to show you that there's only one. Hopefully he gets justice finally. Poor Henry Cavill, man.
Oh my gosh, seriously. Visual effects crew at Disney has filed to unionize.
Good.
Nightmare Before Christmas is coming back into theaters temporarily on October 20th at Regal Cinemas if you want to go see that on the big screen. There is a theme park in Australia. So I thought this was really cool. I don't know if we have any listeners in Australia, but if we do, WB Movie World is getting DC Zombies based on the Deceased comic run from 2019.
What? That sounds sick.
I know. That sounds so cool. I know. I wish they would do something like that at Horror Nights with the Marvel Land. I mean, they did years ago, but then they weren't allowed to again. They did it in like 2002. I
was going to say, like, why couldn't we get some of that at the Avengers campus? However, Disney would probably... Zombie. Well, that's true. Give us more of that. Like some of these zombie characters, like Zombie Spider-Man would be cool to see. Zombie Wanda. Just, I don't know if...
I mean, they do Oogie Boogie Bash.
Yeah, they should do something like that. I don't know if it's because maybe it's some kids get
want
scared.
It to be too scary.
Yeah, probably.
But I mean, they have Marvel Landing at Horror Nights, and they did do it years ago. And I actually went that year, but I really don't remember it at all. And that I was talking to somebody recently because I did the Attractions Magazine podcast, and he was like, "Yeah, they had like Wolverine, like strung up, like getting." Yeah, it was. Apparently, they pushed the Marvel characters too far, and Marvel was like, "Yeah, you can't do that again." It was a whole carnage.
Meanwhile, Deadpool 3 is about to finally be in the Marvel universe, so it's like, oh, come on, man.
Yeah, and I found out today you can't bring water bottles with water in them unless it's sealed into Horror Nights, but you can into Universal, but once it hits a certain time because people put liquor in them.
Oh,
Like
I was about to
corn,
say,
it's
is
just
that the
like
reason?
you can do it during the day. So
So what if
it's
you just
Horror
never
Nights is
leave
just
because you have Horror
chaos.
Nights
Then you're
tickets?
fine. You can do that as long
Interesting.
as you're there before they said security switches at like 5 or something.
Haha.
So
Don't do that, kids.
yeah.
But this is how you get around it.
I mean, I'm gonna drink beer anyway, so it's just gonna be water in my water
Agreed.
bottle, or it's gonna be empty and I'm gonna fill it up when I get inside. All right, so A24, that is a small budget film studio, has accepted the terms of the strike, and actors therefore can do those movies. So maybe we should review one of those movies soon.
A24 has, oh, we should do Talk to Me for our spooky season.
Ooh,
That's their
okay,
latest one that's come out. It's supposedly really, really freaking good.
nice. Another Netflix spooky show from the Haunting of Hill House people are coming out. Did I say that correct? Anyways, there's a new show from them. The Fall of the House of Usher, and it will come out October 12th. I've
Are we
watched
going
those
to
every year.
A Town Down?
What?
Usher? A Town Down? What's up? A Town Down. Usher?
I
Yeah,
know
yeah.
Usher.
Boo doo.
I've never
No?
heard it like that.
No? Okay.
I know. I know it's 7 o'clock on the dot. He's in his drop top.
All right. Anyways,
The Exorcist, this is hilarious. The Exorcist will no longer release on October 13th, which is kind of sad because it's Friday the 13th, because Taylor Swift is now
okay,
releasing
that's a little
her
ridiculous.
concert
Okay, it makes
series.
sense because in no universe is an Exorcist movie ever beating out Taylor Swift. But that sucks. We're not getting an Exorcist movie on October 13th, like Friday the 13th. Come
I
on,
agree, but I think it's
Taylor.
funny that they're concerned, like they're competing with the Swifties.
Well, they've already apparently pre-sold like $100 million worth of tickets.
Jeez. All right, my last piece of news is Giancarlo Esposito, Moff Gideon, Gustavo Fring said at a con recently that he has talked to James Gunn about the
Lex
DCU.
Luthor, right?
I think
I
that
think that
was
was
one
the
of the
rumor.
theories. But again, all rumor. But it's just exciting to hear that
Until
I
Papa
love him.
Gunn says something on the Twitter
Right.
there.
Yep. That's
Why
all I
don't we
know.
get why don't we get Swifties to go after these companies to get fair, wages? If you stick the Swifties on these like studio heads, on like our government even, I feel like things would start to turn around for the better.
I think they're too busy trying to get on wait lists to get tickets to these concerts.
Taylor, run for president. I'm kind of for this because I feel like
I
you can
feel
make
like
some
she would
positive
win.
change and you would definitely win. And maybe that can help our government. I don't know. But anyways, let's go into our main topic, which is Scooby Doo, including Scoobynatural. So Lauren, take us away.
So Scooby Doo first aired on September 13th, 1969, which is why we're releasing it this week. And then exactly 36 years later, Supernatural aired on September 13th, 2005. So here's some Scooby Doo fun facts. The gang was originally a band called the Mysteries Five, although they did still solve mysteries. The Mystery Machine is a 1968 Chevrolet sport van that was customized for the gang. Before they got the van, the kids would actually just pay their parents gas money to drive them around, which is actually pretty funny. But I love that it's a 1968 Chevrolet, and obviously in Supernatural, we have a 1967
Yeah.
Chevrolet Impala. Was that a coincidence? Maybe. Shaggy's real name is Norville Rogers. Shaggy, I found this hilarious and random, and I feel like made up. Shaggy has a collection of 653 decorator belt buckles, and he wears a different belt buckle every episode. The audience just can't tell, which means he's not really doing that.
Yeah, if
Uh,
that I'm confused by that then. Who said this? Where did this come from?
this was on the comic book page. CBR, is that what it is? So yeah, I
Oh,
did not get
yeah,
this from a
interesting.
random thing. But he said that he started collecting belt buckles to motivate him to lose weight due to his love of Scooby snacks. Again, doesn't make sense. He's super duper
Now
skinny,
he just does a bunch of drugs and that's how he stays skinny.
but the drug he does makes him hungry. He gets the munchies.
True. But all that running they do from episode to episode, that's a great way to
Yeah,
stay in shape.
definitely. The reason Fred and Daphne always split off from the group together is not because they're a love interest. It's because the writers found them to be the least interesting and they wanted to focus more on the interesting characters.
That's kind of mean.
Uh, yeah, that's true. The reason Velma often loses her glasses is for the voice actor Nicole Jaffe actually lost her glasses fell off one time while recording, and the directors thought it was cute, so they kept the idea. My last non-movie Scooby-Doo fun fact is Fred got his name from CBS's head of children's programming, Fred Silverman. He is the only character to have the same voice actor in nearly every iteration of the show.
Oh, wow.
Nearly everyone.
Pour one out for Matthew Lillard, which the Scooby-Doo 2000 movies. First of all, I like these
You
movies a
said that
lot.
like Matthew Lillard died. He's very much so
No, because he was replaced and they didn't even tell him. He found out on Twitter and he was a very good Shaggy. So
Matthew Lillard was replaced as Shaggy?
Matthew Lillard was voicing Shaggy from these movies on. And when
No, I
they
know.
did,
He's voiced him in the
yeah,
Supernatural.
because when they did the latest cartoon movie that just came out on HBO or whatever it was, yeah, that's a whole different voice actor. They replaced him, Matthew Lillard, without even telling him. He found out on Twitter.
Well, that's lame.
Exactly. So, anyways, James Gunn was actually one of the writers. Freddie Prinze Jr., Sarah Michelle Gellar, Matthew Lillard, Linda Cardellini, and Isla Fisher all star in this movie. The director wanted a real life couple to play Fred and Daphne. However, Freddie was not actually a fan at first, but Michelle talked him into it because they have been Hollywood's power couple for my entire life, essentially.
Since I Know What You Did Last Summer.
No, that was not Sarah Michelle Gellar. She was not in I Know What You Did Last Summer. That
Yes,
was no, it wasn't.
You're thinking of Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Yeah, Jennifer
Sarah
Love
Michelle
Hewitt.
Gellar was Ryan Phillippe's love interest.
She was? Oh,
Yes.
shit. I'm sorry.
See, I was actually like
I was thinking Jennifer Love Hewitt.
adult
That's
when
why I
I
was
saw
very
these
confused.
movies.
My
I wasn't
bad.
a child.
First of all, I think I was like 10 when the first one came out. I was still whatever.
Exactly.
Well,
You were younger than 10.
The two of them actually married the year that this
Maybe. I
movie
don't
came
know.
out. Okay. And the original cut was R-rated according to James Gunn. Then eventually they turned it family friendly. According to James Gunn, when he talked to Vanity Fair, they had to CGI over some of the cleavage. Apparently, it was a lot of weed and sex jokes.
I like double checked this because I was like, there's no way this is real. And
real?
I double checked it, and this is real. He did an interview. I want this movie.
I want this movie.
Same actors, all of them are still awesome. All of them still like they've all aged beautifully. Like, bring them in. Let's do this.
Linda Cardellini was like my crush growing up from this movie. Just
dude, and now
FYI.
She's like, yeah, she's Mockingbird. She
Yeah.
is. She was in Guardians.
I would pay for this movie. Yeah, for sure.
And James, well, that makes sense too. James Gunn's been working with her for years.
Yeah. Frank Welker, who voiced Freddie Jones in all the Scooby-Doo cartoons, provides his voice to one of the evil creatures in this movie. Originally, Matthew Lillard would scream for a very long time to make his voice all hoarse to do a perfect Shaggy imitation. It didn't quite work out, so he began to actually try to imitate the voice he did when his voice was all tired out from all the screaming.
We saw him at MegaCon, and his voice was like gone, and one of them were like, "You sound like Shaggy."
Because he is. Like, he is my Shaggy, so...
But he didn't have to do anything to sound like it.
That's true. Very true. Neil Fanning was actually on set every day to provide Scooby's dialogue for the cast to interact with. So, like I said, I really enjoyed these movies. Thought they were great. The second one, when Scrappy Doo came in, that one wasn't bad, but Mr. Bean was the bad guy in the first one. These movies, they're just fun, man. And they sneak Scooby on the plane, dressing him like a old grandma. It's like, what idiot doesn't know I don't know. That's what I love about Scooby Doo. It's one of my favorite properties of all time, just because it's something that you can just turn your brain off, and it's lighthearted. And when you're just feeling sad or down, you can turn on Scooby, and then you're just like Scoobynatural. I was laughing the entire episode. It was awesome. So let's dive into that.
Yeah, let's do it. But before we do that, real quick with the movie, like I remember seeing the movie. I was working in a daycare, and we went with all the kids, and I see them in the van, and the van's smoking, and I'm just like, what the fuck?
Goodness, and then kids, shield your eyes.
And then they were cooking hot dogs or something. And then Isla Fisher
cooking hot dogs.
Her name's Mary Jane, and he's like, Mary Jane, that's my favorite name.
I love Mary Jane.
I just wanted to point those things out. All right, let's go to Scoobynatural.
Scoobynatural, take us away.
So in Scoobynatural, the Justice, Sam, Dean, and Castiel are transported into the animated world of Scooby-Doo, where they join forces with Scooby and the gang to solve a ghostly mystery. So I love that this episode right out the gate just starts with Dean fighting with a giant stuffed dinosaur.
Oh, right from the get-go, you knew what kind of episode this was. It was awesome. Like the stuffed plush dinosaur, they pour holy water on it. Then he lights on fire and just blows up. That sets the entire tone. And then they're taking the TV. It was great.
Yeah, and like there's a lot of serious stuff going on in that season, so it was a nice break. Like I love when they do things like that, because I did rewatch it before I told you to watch it, because obviously you're not season. But also you have Dean at the very beginning, like, just be like Elsa and let it go.
And he's like, seriously, Elsa? And he was just like, yeah.
There's another episode where he quotes Dory, and he's like, he looked at him, he goes, "Don't shame me for loving that fish," or something like that. So Dean is a Disney fan, even though he
Oh
makes fun of
yeah.
Sam early on about the princess stuff. But there's so many Scooby Doo references throughout the 15 seasons, so it made sense. You know, they were both owned by WB or whatever, so it made sense for this to be a crossover. And the way they did it was so good, and I
Well,
felt
it's
like
very
Dean had the
poltergeist.
yeah. But Dean kind of had the same feelings as you. It's like, you know, we could always turn the TV on and Scooby was always there. And the innocence of the characters, like he was very adamantly, they have to protect the innocence of these
Yeah.
characters. And you get a fuck in this
You
episode.
do. You do. Well, you like it's kind of funny. We'll get to it. I was just gonna jump ahead to the we're going to hell.
With Daphne, yeah.
The crisis they have, yeah. But no, you are right. Like that's why Dean was talking at one point. He's like, yeah, man, no matter what hunt we went on, at the end of the day, we turn on the TV with Dad, and Scooby was on, and it was just that way to just be a child for a little bit at a time when Dean couldn't be a child. And then it turns out Sam actually low key loved Scooby Doo as well.
Of course he did. Sam just tries to act like he's all grown up. There is an episode, I'm going to spoil this real quick, in season 15 where you see Dean's underwear drawer and there's Scooby Doo underwear.
That's amazing.
It is amazing.
Well, yes, Frank Welker, who has been voicing Fred since Scooby Doo Where Are You in 1969 and took over as Scooby in 2002. Welker is the only actor from A Night of Fright is No Delight, the 1970, to participate in this episode. When Jay is arrested,
is what this episode was.
yes. When Jay is arrested, it says Crystal Cove Police on the side of the police car. Crystal Cove is the town where all of the mysteries took place in Scooby Doo Mystery Incorporated 2010. Great series. Go watch it. I highly recommend. I believe it's on Max right now. This is the 16th episode of the season, where the Scooby Doo episode A Night of Fright is No Delight, which is based on this episode, originally aired as episode 16 of season 1 of Scooby Doo Where Are You? There's lots of behind the scenes footage of them recording, and yeah, I thought this was great. I was laughing the entire time. They get very poltergeisty, and Dean's, what do you call it? The Fortress of Deanitude.
Yeah.
And he's still working on the name. Like they go in there, and it's really cool. He's got the foosball table, he's got the couches, he's got the TV and everything like that. And they stand in front of the TV, get sucked in, and right from the get-go, Dean's just trying to hit on Daphne the whole time and calling for like Fred's a square. And
Call him a wad.
It's great how oblivious, Fred and Daphne and all them kind of are to all this. And he's like, so what do you look for in a guy? Oh, and she's just very oblivious to all while looking at Fred. And Dean's he tries to race the mystery machine at one point and gets left in the dust. And what's great is, yeah, like even Castiel shows up, which to me, I forgot. Like for some reason, when he first showed up, I'm in season 7. And so to me, I was like, why is Cass? Wasn't he just a bad guy or dead? But I forgot we're in a different season now, so it doesn't spoil anything. It's just because
well, I think you knew he was going to be in the last season.
Yeah, of course. And so it was great. Like the pairings that they did made sense. Velma thirsting after Sam and his broad football shoulders. You had Dean with Fred and Daphne, and then of course like Shaggy, Cass, and Scoob, which that pairing was my favorite pairing because they were just all oblivious idiots and they're scared and they're just like little puppy dogs, and they're Shaggy is my favorite character anyways, and so seeing Cass with him, it was great. This episode was so much fun. I had so much fun.
And I love that he still has his angel powers in Scooby-Doo land because he can heal Shaggy, but he can't get out of the TV.
Yes, and then they like float down too with his like Batman-esque abilities with his jackets and everything.
You gotta love the cartoon stuff.
Shaggy was like, this never happened before. Usually I've fallen from a plane and I didn't get hurt.
Well, and at the beginning too, when Cass gets sucked into the TV, I feel like it was not enough attention paid to that, where he's like, I bargained with the rest of the gin. Yes, I think I'm married to their queen.
And he went to like the Tree of Life in Syria, and he's talking about that whole thing is ridiculous. Again, right. Cass is so goofy.
Then you got the Scooby-Doo at the end. He's like, oh, he said the line.
Yes. What is it called again when Dean has it? The
ascot?
Yes, the ascot. He's like, are you wearing an ascot? Yes, I am. And it looks very good. And he's like, Scooby-Doo. Like, what are you doing? He goes, at the end of every mystery, that's what they say. And we got
You're not a talking dog.
He said the line. If I would have got away with it, if it wasn't for you meddling kids. Like, he said the line. It was great. And I like the way that they also had the entire Scooby gang having a midlife crisis because it was an actual ghost. And they're like, it's always a mystery. It's always this. and they're like, no, it's real. And they're Daphne thinks she's going to hell, and they're all like, we're gonna die. And then it was really cool how Sam and Dean were essentially like, no, it was this, the bad guy the whole time is right here and everything like that. And they did their unmasking, and it was a cute episode.
Yeah. And it's tragic with the little boy. But
Oh
Supernatural
yeah.
does that where it could be like
They
super sad 1 second and then
well, they still hit you in the feelings. It's crazy how
yeah.
their the ability, like you said, in this season, which I haven't got to, it's a very serious season, and they have that ability. Like Supernatural is very good about. Okay, we have like 3 really heavy episodes in a row. Here's a fun episode to kind of palate cleanse before we go back into the story again.
Yeah. And there's so many people who are like, oh, I only watched the first 5 seasons, or I stopped at, the Leviathans or something like that. And I just think like you missed Scoobynatural. And like there's another episode this season called Tombstone that I absolutely love. Like there are some phenomenal characters and episodes. Like you haven't even met Rowena yet. And you haven't even met Charlie. You're almost to Charlie. She's in the Leviathan
That's
season.
Felicia Day,
And
right?
yep, that's
Yeah.
Felicia Day. So there's a lot still to come that if you fell off early, I recommend picking it back up.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's like that with some shows. It's just
You need a break from
stick with.
shows
Yeah, you need a
sometimes.
break. I haven't watched the show because I've been moving, but this episode, it was so much fun. Like they were making fun of Sam. Why is he such a downer? And Dean's just fawning over the entire process. He's like, "Oh, this guy's the bad guy, by the way." He's like, "That makes sense." But it turns out the whole thing is all thrown off because again, the ghost turns out to be the little kid who just wanted to see his dad again, and he gets very angry sometimes, like children do. I swear, my kids, when they're very angry, they're like this demon ghost as well.
Oh, I was ready to throw the Wi-Fi extender across the room yesterday, and I'm a grown ass adult.
Yeah, like we all get that way. And it was a very sad story at the end. And that turns out that the guy was finally got busted for tax evasion, which is hilarious.
Yeah, like it's good enough for Capone, good enough for you.
Yes, that's what he said. Yes. For some reason I was thinking it was a Wesley Snipes joke coming, but it was the Capone joke, and it was great. And the guy was a sleaze bag, and it was a fun episode, man. I had so much fun with this.
Yeah. No, I'm glad. The first time I watched it, I feel like I liked it more the second time. Because, like, I was exposed to Scooby Doo. I've seen Scooby Doo, but I never fell in love with Scooby Doo. But, like, my aunt, who's actually a Patreon, she loves Scooby Doo and she loves
Love it.
Supernatural. So when this came out, yeah. And, like,
Scooby Doo on Zombie Island is like the best piece of
that's
art.
actually, I know you have wanted to talk about that for a
I
while. Do you want
do.
to talk
Yes.
about that for a few minutes before we wrap things up?
Yes. Okay. Scooby Doo on Zombie Island is one of the better Scooby. It's very creepy. They go to the bayou, and the witches, they're cats, and they're just trying to prolong their life. And what I just love it because it's to me, it's one of my first memories of Scooby Doo being like legitimately kind of creepy, because it's they're real
Mm.
ghosts, they're real witches. And for some reason, as a kid, that was just one of my first memories of Scooby Doo for some reason, and I was drawn to it. And so to me, it holds a good place in my heart. And Scooby Doo doesn't have a bad episode that I've ever watched. I mean, I'm sure there might be. They Scooby's one of those things that like they cross over with everything. You have Scooby Doo crossing over with Batman. You have Scooby Doo crossing over with the Gray Ghost. Scooby Doo meets Supernatural. It's just insane. And it's one of those timeless characters that you just always see, and it transcends generations, in my opinion. And yeah, man, it's just like there's legit zombies, and I'm a big fan of the zombie genre. So to see legit zombies in the Scooby franchise, again, the witches and all of the mysterious aspects of it, that's just one of those things that always stands out to me. And so I love Scooby Doo and Zombie Island. All
Yeah.
about that shit.
And the film, I just looked it up. It was dedicated to Don Messick, who was the original voice of Scooby Doo.
Oh man, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's all I kind of have for Scooby Doo. I love it. I could do like an entire breakdown, like series of Scooby Doo episodes. So maybe we'll revisit Scooby Doo, and
It was
Lauren might
Mark
get
Hamill
into
was
it.
in it.
Yeah, Mark Hamill's done. That's what I'm saying. Like, and Simple Plan, actually, one of their most popular songs is actually, I believe it's from the Scooby Doo Mystery Incorporated series, and like they do the intro for it, and at
Oh,
their
that's
concerts and
cool.
stuff, like that's what a lot of they'll play it sometimes at their
They didn't
concerts and
play it
things
at
like that.
Epcot.
Oh, weird, because they usually play it. Like a lot of fans want it, and yeah, they did the intro. It's a banger of an intro.
Well, they do when when the bands perform at Epcot, they'll perform 3 different times, and like they'll always end with their biggest song, but they'll play
Right.
different songs. So maybe they did it another time. Let's see, who was Mark Hamill in this? Oh, Mark Hamill was Snakebite Scruggs.
Yes, yes, yes.
Oh, Jim Cummings was in it. He was Jacques. He plays Pooh Bear.
Oh, does he? I didn't know that one.
Yeah. Oh, or is it Tigger? No,
It's
I think it's Pooh
great.
Bear.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's a must watch. Go watch Scooby Doo. Very, very kid friendly show. If you
I
got
have read a
kids, you
lot
can
of
throw it on.
Scooby books.
I'd read a straight up Scooby Doo comic book series of the gang doing stuff. I know they've had some throughout and whatnot, but
I've just read the like I can read books with
yeah,
Logan and
give
Brielle
me
and
more.
Kaylee.
My kids love Scooby Doo too, so it's fun of those bonding moments. But why don't you close us here? I see we got some notes for closing, so go ahead and take us.
Yes. So we are getting ready for October. If you've been listening to us for a while, then you know we are both big Halloween spooky fans. And so we did ask for spooky recommendations or requests, and let us know if you have anything. You can always email us, hit us up in the DMs. But I did recently ask about Stephen King books and movies, so I wanted to read some of those
Stephen King has a new
recommendations.
book that just came out called Holly.
Is it spooky?
Of course, it's Stephen King.
Well, he doesn't do all spooky. He did Shawshank Redemption. That
I'm
was
pretty
one of the
sure that's
ones
fair.
Tim
You're right.
suggested.
I'm 99% sure it's spooky.
I mean, that is pretty scary, the idea of going to jail for something you didn't do. Well, it's fucking terrifying. But
I mean, yeah. Well, yeah.
so our recommendations as far as books, Stacy recommended The Shining, Ian recommended Dark Hands Down and Skeleton Crew. I did actually get, oh, I forgot which one I got. Salem Lot. I did get that one, so I might read that one
Oh,
next month.
cool. They've redone the movie of Pet Cemetery a few times too.
After watching the first one and when they killed the little kid at the beginning, which I
That's
guess that
rough, yeah.
little kid, I just got tickets for Spookala. The little kid's going to be there, and so are Shaggy and Freddie Prinze Jr. and Matthew Lillard are going to be
Okay,
there.
if you get to meet or see Matthew Lillard, that's like a life goal, right? And Freddie Prinze Jr. because Freddie Prinze Jr. is a big Star Wars guy.
Yeah, well, yeah, he's Kanan, so he's going to be there. Vanessa Marshall's going to be there, and Ezra Bridger, whose real name I don't know, is going to be there. They're doing a group photo, but you know how the photos just.
I
Kevin Smith's going to be
you.
there. Jay,
Damn,
it's a lot of people.
You got to hit up
Vanessa.
Vanessa.
Yeah, no, I'm going to hit her up.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was, and she told us to when she came on the episode.
She did, and she did respond when I hit her up. Anyways.
So Stephen King movie recommendations. Stacy said Misery, Tim, Shawshank Redemption, Sean said The Shining, and my mom said The Langoliers, which I didn't know what that was, and her comment was it's almost as bad as Sharknado. So I did look it up.
Oh boy.
So Langoliers are medium-sized globular creatures consisting almost entirely of a huge sharp-toothed maw. They have been described as timekeepers and inhabit a temporal realm usually unreachable by human senses, to which non-living matter drifts into as the linear timeline advances from present to future. Kind of sounds like the in-between in Star Wars now.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Another recommendation from my mom was a costume and beer pairings segment. But that's what I got. So we'll, be talking some spooky movies, some Stephen King.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so let us know if there's anything you'd like to hear, some fun facts about or opinions.
We might do Talk to Me, A24 movie, since they're following the rules and helping their people out too. So let us know what your favorite thing about Halloween is, your Halloween movie recommendations, your favorite costume that you've ever worn, or what you're going to dress up as. Well, we'll do it all, man. This is a really fun thing. Subscribe to us again. If you want to support the show, patreon.com/HopsGeekNews. And you can always reach us anywhere. Join our Discord channel, and we can talk really fun things. But other than that, we will see you guys next week as we have some more great content coming at you. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll see you soon. Cheers.